In the following tutorial, we're going to take a look at targeting and scoping variables. Now, variables are given scope just like any other type of object in Flash. That means that they are scoped, or they live on the timeline that they're created on. If they were created on the main timeline, of course, they would all be there. Now, if we look at the structure of this particular file, we have a nurse here, and we have two guys that are in a movie clip together. If I double click and go inside, you'll see we have policemen and we have firemen. Inside each individual timeline, however, of each character is a small script which has their name, and it says var my name equals policeman Phil. If I look at the other guy, I kind of have to hide that. I go into the fireman. I look on his timeline. It says var my name equals fireman Frank, and of course we have nurse Nancy for that one. So what we're going to do is click on each individual movie clip, and when we click on the movie clip, it should output their name into the box that we have down here, which is names_txt. Now we're going to begin this by just trying to trace one of the variables of one of the characters without creating a function event listener pair, and let's see what happens. So let's go to the main timeline, and that's where we're going to put our code for our first targeting stuff. And I do want to point out that when it comes to the way we're going to do this, the first one we're going to use absolute targeting for, and for this one we're going to use a very simple version of relative targeting that targets the object that we're clicking on, the event target that we're clicking on, and then just goes inside of that. So it's a very easy way to do relative targeting. This will be very easy to accomplish. Anyway, let's begin by trying to output just the name of the very first character. So we know that we need to output the text to the names_txt file. So we'll use the let's go ahead and use absolute since we're on that side. It doesn't really matter. root.names_txt.text equals, then we need to find out what the name of the nurse is. So we can use root again, so it's absolute targeting. And now we'll use dot my name, which is the name of the variable inside the character. So let's test it out and see what happens. Now, we do get an error with this. It says parameter text must not be non-null. So this is what I have the little star here for it, which says that you get 5 points extra credit if you can figure out why that first text does not work, why that first task does not work. Because I'm going to go on, and we're actually going to put this inside of a function instead. So let's create our first function, and this is going to be get nurse, and we'll say get nurse1, and we need an event in there, which will be a mouse event. Now we'll do the :void just to make sure. :void. We'll start our curly bracket, and we'll go after the code that we have currently and finish our curly bracket, and then go ahead and auto format just to make that jump out. Now, if your auto formatting has the curly brackets on that side because you're using CS5, that's okay, but I prefer to see it this way just because this is the way I'll be doing it in the tutorials. Anyway, now we need a event listener. So we're going to make it so that when you click on the nurse, and we'll use absolute targeting again, we will say add event listener. We're going to use a mouse event dot click, and we're going to run the get nurse1 function. Go down a couple lines, and let's make sure that we check the syntax, auto format just in case, and then test your scene. If I do Control Enter, now when I click on her, you'll see that I get Nurse Nancy appears in my character's output. So for some reason, this particular code works great when you use a function event listener pair, but it doesn't work great if you use it by itself. So see if you can figure out, troubleshoot that for extra credit, and post your solution down there, and then go on to the next tutorial.